Life is full of energy exchanges. Everywhere you go, every person you meet, every environment you step into carries a certain frequency. Some energies lift you higher, fill you with hope, peace, and strength. Others drain you, cloud your thinking, and suffocate your spirit. We call that toxic energy. The problem is not that toxic energy exists, it always will. The real issue is how you allow it to touch you, how you let it influence your peace of mind, and how much power you hand over to it. There is something you can do, one powerful practice, that if you truly embrace, toxic energy will never be able to reach you in the same way again. Toxic energy, whether it comes in the form of negativity, criticism, gossip, or hostility, is like a fire. It burns only as long as it has fuel. The mistake many people make is believing they can fight toxic energy head on. They argue with it, they try to defend themselves against it, or they let it affect their emotions. But what most don't realize is that the very act of reacting gives it power. When you respond emotionally to toxic energy, you feed it the exact fuel it needs to grow stronger. Think of a person who thrives on drama. The more you argue, the more they talk. The more you defend yourself, the more they find new ways to provoke you. Why? Because your reaction tells them they have power over you. Your reaction validates their attempt to disrupt your peace. On the other hand, when you withdraw your reaction, when you stand calm and unshaken, their toxic energy runs out of steam. They don't know what to do with silence, with calmness, with indifference. And in that moment, you've taken away their fuel. The same principle applies not just to people, but also to environments and situations. If you walk into a place filled with negativity and you immediately let it shift your mood, you've handed over your energy. You've allowed that toxicity to dictate how you feel. But if you stay aware and remind yourself that your inner state is yours to protect, the toxic environment can't penetrate you. It can exist around you, but it won't exist inside you. Imagine being in a room where someone is constantly criticizing others, complaining about life, or spreading bad energy. If you jump into the conversation, defending yourself or trying to argue against their negativity, you'll find yourself drained very quickly. But if you choose not to react, if you acknowledge what's happening without feeding it, something powerful happens. The toxicity loses its audience. Without an audience, without a response, it weakens. Just like a flame with no oxygen, it dies down. The truth is, toxic energy survives on attention. It wants to be noticed. It wants to be felt. It wants to invade. That's why the greatest weapon you can use against it is not a louder voice, not aggression, not even explanation. It's silence and stillness. Your refusal to react is not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's one of the strongest positions you can hold, because it shows that you are in control of yourself and not easily manipulated by outside forces. It's important to understand that not reacting does not mean suppressing your emotions. It means mastering them. It means acknowledging that someone is trying to disturb your peace and then consciously deciding not to let them. It's a skill that takes practice, but once you learn it, you'll find that most toxic energy loses its effect almost instantly. Life will never be free of negativity. You will always encounter difficult people, challenging environments, and draining situations. But the key lies in remembering this simple truth: reaction is fuel. Every time you choose to react emotionally, you're giving away your energy to something unworthy of it. Every time you stay calm and grounded, you're protecting your inner power. So the next time toxic energy comes your way, pause before you react. Take a deep breath. Ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? If the answer is no, then let it go. Refuse to add fuel to a fire that doesn't deserve to burn, because once you stop giving it fuel, toxic energy can no longer grow. It withers, it fades, and most importantly, it can't reach you. Peace is not something that just falls into your lap. It is not gifted to you by others, and it certainly isn't something that toxic people or environments will protect for you. Peace is a choice, a deliberate decision you must make every single day. When I say it's non-negotiable, I mean that it cannot be traded, bargained, or sacrificed for the comfort of others. It is your responsibility to guard it fiercely, because without peace of mind, everything else in life feels heavy, chaotic, and unbalanced. Most people lose their peace not because the world is too loud, but because they hand over control of their emotions to others. They allow toxic people to dictate their mood, to control their reactions, and to steal their joy. But here's the truth: no one can take your peace without your permission. The challenge is that too many people give that permission away too easily. They engage in arguments they don't need to fight. They explain themselves to people who are committed to misunderstanding them. They let criticism replay in their minds until it eats away at their confidence. Protecting your peace means drawing a line, a clear boundary that says, this is my mental space, and not everything gets access to it. Just like you would lock your house to keep strangers out, you must lock your mind and heart from unwanted negativity. Boundaries aren't about being cold or shutting people out. They are about knowing that your energy is sacred. When you treat it that way, others are forced to respect it too. A non-negotiable decision means that you no longer allow temporary emotions to sway you. You no longer let guilt push you into situations that drain you. You no longer let the fear of being disliked keep you tied to toxic relationships. Peace comes when you choose to value your well-being over someone else's opinion. And that choice requires courage. It means sometimes walking away from arguments, even if your ego wants to win. It means saying no, even when it disappoints someone else. It means stepping back, even if people don't understand your silence. When you make peace your top priority, everything else falls into place more easily. Stress no longer has the same grip on you. Conflict no longer consumes you. You gain clarity, focus, and strength. Imagine driving a car with a cracked windshield. You can still move forward, but your vision is blurred and limited. That's what life feels like without peace. But when you protect it, it's like cleaning the glass. Suddenly, you see the road clearly and can drive smoothly toward your goals. Many people think they will find peace once life gets easier, once people around them change, or once circumstances improve. But waiting for external conditions to align is a trap. Peace isn't found in perfect circumstances. It's found in your decision to rise above them. That's why it must be non-negotiable. You don't wait for others to change. You commit to protecting your inner calm no matter what they do. So how do you make this decision real? You start by paying attention to how you feel around people, places, and conversations. If something constantly robs you of peace, you adjust your involvement, you cut back, you distance yourself, or you detach emotionally. You remind yourself that your well-being is more valuable than winning an argument, fitting into a toxic circle, or pleasing someone at the cost of your sanity. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's survival, it's strength, it's wisdom. When you protect your peace, you not only elevate your own life, but you also show others what self-respect looks like. And once you decide that your peace is non-negotiable, toxic energy, negativity, and drama will find it nearly impossible to reach you. Negativity is everywhere, on the news and conversations at workplaces, even within families. It comes in the form of complaints, criticism, gossip, anger, and pessimism. The problem isn't that negativity exists. The real problem is that we often absorb it. We take in other people's emotions as if they belong to us. We let their bitterness color our thoughts, their anger stir up our own, and their doubt weaken our confidence. But the truth is, you don't have to absorb negativity. You can choose to let it pass like clouds drifting across the sky without ever letting it enter your soul. Imagine someone throwing a ball at you. If you catch it, you now hold it, you can throw it back, you can carry it, you can even get hit by it. But if you simply step aside and let it pass, it never touches you. Negativity works the same way. Every time someone sends it your way through words, actions, or attitudes, you have two options: absorb it or let it pass. The moment you absorb it, you take on their energy and carry it with you. But when you let it pass without engagement, you remain light-free and untouchable. The reason negativity spreads so quickly is because people engage with it. Think about gossip. It only survives because someone listens, reacts, and adds to it. Think about arguments. They only grow when both sides keep throwing fuel on the fire. If one person refuses to engage, the argument dies out. This is why refusing to absorb negativity is one of the most powerful shields you can create for yourself. It's important to understand that refusing to absorb negativity does not mean ignoring reality. It doesn't mean pretending problems don't exist. It means protecting your energy by choosing not to carry emotions that are not yours to carry. For example, if a co-worker spends the whole day complaining about how unfair life is, you can listen with empathy but not let their negativity sink into you. You acknowledge their feelings without making them your own. You observe without absorbing. Think of yourself as a mirror. A mirror reflects what it sees but never holds on to it. Negativity can come near you, but it doesn't stick. You don't let it enter your heart, your thoughts, or your spirit. You remain grounded in your own energy, not borrowed from someone else's storm. Of course, this takes practice. Our natural instinct is often to defend ourselves, to argue back, or to match the energy we receive. But matching negativity only doubles its power. The stronger choice is to rise above it. This could mean choosing silence instead of arguing, walking away instead of staying in a toxic environment, or redirecting the conversation instead of indulging gossip. Each time you do this, you weaken negativity's grip and strengthen your own inner power. Negativity is like a virus. It only spreads when it finds a host. When you stop being a host, when you stop absorbing it, you break the cycle. And here's the beautiful part: when you refuse to absorb negativity, you also create space for positive energy to grow. You carry peace instead of anger, hope instead of doubt, clarity instead of confusion. You become the kind of person who uplifts others rather than being dragged down. So the next time someone tries to hand you their negativity, pause and remind yourself, I don't have to carry this. Let it pass. Don't catch it. Don't feed it. Don't make it yours. Because once you master the art of refusing negativity, you'll discover a freedom that no toxic energy can touch. You'll remain calm in chaos, light in darkness, and grounded no matter what storms rage around you. Every day you interact with countless energies, some uplifting, others draining. What determines whether those energies penetrate your inner world is not how powerful they are, but how aware you are. Inner awareness acts like a shield. It is the conscious recognition of what belongs to you and what is not. When you are deeply aware of yourself, your emotions, your triggers, your values, you naturally develop protection against toxic influences because you can see them clearly without confusing them with your own truth. Think about it like this. If you are walking through a storm but holding an umbrella, the rain still falls, but it doesn't soak you. The umbrella is your awareness. Toxic words, attitudes, and environments will still exist, but they cannot drench your spirit unless you lower your shield. And that shield is built by knowing yourself, observing your inner state, and remaining mindful of how external forces try to shape you. Many people lack this inner awareness, which is why they get consumed by toxic energy. If someone criticizes them, they immediately accept those words as truth. If someone treats them with hostility, they automatically feel wounded. If negativity surrounds them, they mirror it. Without awareness, you absorb everything unconsciously, but with awareness, you create a gap between stimulus and response. You hear the criticism, but you pause and ask, does this define me? You feel the hostility, but you remind yourself, this comes from their pain, not mine. You notice the negativity, but you choose, I don't have to join in. Inner awareness comes from observation without judgment. It means noticing your own emotions as they arise, asking yourself why you feel what you feel, and separating what belongs to you from what belongs to others. For example, if someone is angry and starts yelling, awareness allows you to see their anger as a reflection of them, not as a reflection of you. Without awareness, you might take it personally, absorb it, and yell back. But awareness lets you step back and say, this is their storm. I don't need to stand in it. Another part of awareness is knowing your own triggers. Toxic people often thrive on finding your weak spots. If you are unaware of them, you will react every time they push those buttons. But when you know yourself, when you are honest about what triggers you, you can prepare, strengthen, and respond differently. That is how awareness transforms into protection. The beauty of inner awareness is that it doesn't just block negativity, it also amplifies positivity. When you are aware, you notice the little things, the kindness in a stranger's smile, the calmness in your breath, the gratitude in ordinary moments. You stop being consumed by external chaos and start rooting yourself in internal calm. This shift creates a strong shield because toxic influence cannot thrive in a mind that is anchored in presence. Of course, building awareness requires practice. It may come through meditation, journaling, mindful breathing, or simply pausing throughout the day to check in with yourself. Each practice strengthens the shield. Over time, you notice that negativity affects you less and less. Situations that once drained you no longer hold power. People who once disturbed you lose their control. Toxicity is still there, but it feels like noise in the background instead of a storm inside your mind. At the core, awareness gives you choice. Without it, you react unconsciously, handing your peace to anyone who wants it. With it, you respond consciously, choosing who gets access to your inner world. And once you master this, toxic energy cannot penetrate you. It bounces off, unable to reach the core of who you are. So remember, awareness is your shield. Keep it polished, keep it strong, and let it guard your spirit. Because when you live with awareness, no toxic influence can control you, no matter how loud, aggressive, or persistent it tries to be. One of the most powerful truths in life is this: not everything you notice requires your participation. Many people exhaust themselves because they believe that every negative comment, every toxic behavior, every act of hostility must be responded to. They jump into every conflict, defend against every insult, and argue with every critic. But in reality, the moment you participate in toxic energy, you strengthen it. The moment you refuse to participate, you weaken it. Observation without participation is how toxic power dissolves. Imagine someone trying to start a fire with wet wood. No matter how hard they try, the flame refuses to grow. That's what happens when you choose not to engage with toxic energy. It might still spark, but without your reaction, it never catches fire. Your lack of participation denies it the oxygen it needs to survive. Observation is about awareness without entanglement. It means you see the situation clearly, but you do not let yourself get pulled into it. For example, if someone speaks negatively about you, your natural instinct might be to defend yourself or argue. But if you step back and simply observe, recognizing that their words reflect their mindset, not your worth, you break the chain. Their negativity can't grow because you refuse to feed it. This principle is visible in everyday life. Gossip, for instance, thrives only because people participate. The moment people stop listening, stop adding their opinions, stop spreading it further, the gossip dies. Toxic relationships survive because one person keeps giving energy to the drama. The moment they step back and observe without reacting, the cycle begins to crumble. It's important to understand that observation doesn't mean indifference. It doesn't mean you don't care about yourself or others. It means you care enough about your peace to choose wisely when to respond and when not to. Some situations do require action, standing up for yourself, setting boundaries, or walking away. But most toxic situations only require disengagement, and when you disengage, you rob toxicity of its power. Observation also builds emotional strength. Instead of letting someone's words immediately trigger you, you create space between what they say and how you respond. That space is where freedom lies. You look at the situation like an outsider, noticing patterns, behaviors, and emotions, but not letting them control you. You remind yourself, I see it, but I don't have to join it. This mindset is liberating because it allows you to keep your energy for what truly matters. When you practice observation without participation, you'll notice something interesting. Toxic people often get frustrated. Why? Because their power depends on your reaction. They want you to argue, defend, or break down. When you don't give them that satisfaction, they lose control. Eventually, they either back down or move on because they realize they cannot penetrate your calm. This practice also applies to internal negativity. Sometimes the toxicity isn't outside, it's inside your own mind. Negative thoughts may arise as self-doubt, fear, regret, or anger. Instead of participating in them, believing them, replaying them, you can simply observe. Watch the thought, acknowledge it, and let it pass without engaging. Over time, this habit weakens the thought's grip and dissolves its power. Observation without participation is a skill, and like any skill, it grows stronger with practice. You start small, choosing not to respond to petty comments, choosing not to enter unnecessary debates, choosing not to dwell on negative thoughts. Each time you do this, you reclaim your energy and weaken the influence of toxicity in your life. So remember, you are not required to participate in every storm that passes your way. Sometimes the most powerful response is no response at all. Stand back, observe, and let toxicity exhaust itself. Because when you stop feeding it with your attention, it cannot survive. And in that silence, in that refusal to participate, you find true freedom. At the heart of toxic influence lies one simple truth. It only has power over you if you allow it. Most people don't realize this, but they are constantly giving away permission for negativity to enter their lives. They let toxic people define their worth, control their emotions, and dictate their reactions. But the moment you reclaim that permission, the moment you decide that your energy belongs only to you, you become untouchable. Toxicity may surround you, but it cannot reach you anymore. Think about how doors and locks work. If you leave your front door wide open, anyone can walk in. But if you lock it, only those you choose can enter. Your mind and spirit work the same way. Every time you let someone's criticism ruin your day, you've left the door open. Every time you let gossip, jealousy, or drama take over your peace, you've handed out a key. Reclaiming permission is about locking that door and deciding who and what gets access to your inner space. The truth is, you don't control what people say or do. You don't control the environments you step into. But you absolutely control what you allow to land inside you. If someone calls you names, you don't have to accept that label. If someone treats you unfairly, you don't have to carry their behavior as your burden. If life presents toxic circumstances, you don't have to let them poison your outlook. When you reclaim permission, you reclaim choice, the power to say, this doesn't define me, this doesn't belong to me, this doesn't deserve my energy. Many people unconsciously give away permission because they confuse it with love, respect, or kindness. They tolerate toxic behavior because they don't want to hurt someone's feelings. They allow disrespect because they fear rejection. They absorb negativity because they don't want to be seen as cold or distant. But true strength lies in realizing that protecting your peace is not cruelty, it is wisdom. You are not obligated to carry what others throw at you. You are not responsible for fixing someone else's storm. By reclaiming your permission, you protect your own energy while still treating others with respect. Once you reclaim permission, you also begin to live with greater confidence. You no longer walk on eggshells, worried about what others think. You stop explaining yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. You no longer beg for validation from those who only want to tear you down. Instead, you walk with certainty, knowing that your worth is self-given, not granted by external voices. That self-assurance makes you immune to toxic influence because no outside force can shake what is firmly rooted within you. Of course, reclaiming permission requires discipline. It's not a one-time event, it's a daily practice. Each time someone tries to drag you into drama, you remind yourself, I don't grant permission. Each time negative thoughts creep in, you counter them with awareness. I don't give these thoughts power. Each time you feel pressured to tolerate disrespect, you set a boundary. I don't allow this access. Over time, these small acts of reclaiming your permission build an unshakable foundation of peace. And here's the most powerful part: when you reclaim permission, you also inspire others to do the same. People watching you will see that it's possible to live free from toxic control. Your calmness will challenge their chaos. Your strength will expose their manipulation. And your refusal to give away permission will teach them that real power comes from within, not from dominating others. So remember, this toxic energy can only reach you if you let it in. Take back your permission. Guard it as if it were the most valuable thing you own, because it is. Once you reclaim it, you'll find that no insult, no drama, no negativity can shake you. You will stand firm, untouchable, and free. And from that place of power, toxic energy has no way to enter your life.